So now let's move over to the part 2 section of entomology. We are going to talk about the sandfly, the ticks, the mites, and the lice. We already have had a word on competency which is associated or related to this topic. And in the previous module, you have discussed about the mosquitoes. In this module, we'll talk about the remaining insects. So what do you see over here? What is this? Can you see? Is this insect, is this arachnida, or is it crustacea? First, you should know this. Beta, you see wings over here. What is this? These are the wings. You remember, pank hote to ud jate. This is what is the class Insecta. So technically, wings are there in Insecta, right? We talked about this. It's not there in arachnida. It's not there in the crustacea. So this is some insect. Is it a mosquito? Please note that the 5-star differentiating feature between a mosquito and this insect is the amount of hairs. Can you see a lot of hair on the body? You can see a lot of hair on the body, and the insect which has a lot of hair on the body is called as a sandfly. Let's have a couple of few MCQs on what is sandfly. What are the MCQs? Beta, sandfly is a very hairy insect. Sandfly is of many types. We can have something like Phlebotomus argentipes, Papatasi sargenti, or Punjabiensis. And the disease which is more important from the public health point of view, that is Kala Azar that we have in India. It's a big menace in Kala Azar. You already know that. What is the area which is more for Kala Azar? Please note it is Bihar, belt, that is Bihar, West Bengal, some parts in Odisha, Uttar Pradesh, Assam. This is the area which is typically high in Kala Azar. If you get single based answer, it is both Bihar and West Bengal which are typically high, which are more high in Kala Azar, and it is a disease which is under the National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. But you should also remember that Phlebotomus papatasi may cause the sandfly fever, and the sargenti causes the oriental sore. So that was just a brief about the public health importance. Now coming to the second point, like what are the special features? Please note that this insect, what do you want to say? Please say with me, what do you want to say? Does it bite during daytime or nighttime? Please note that this insect is a typical nocturnal insect. It bites during the nighttime. What is the flight range of this insect or this sandfly? Please note that sandfly is the only fly which does not fly. So you can remember that there is wings, but this fly does not fly. It only hops. The hopping range or the range for movement of sandfly, it's only around 40 to 50 yards or 40 to 50 meters. You can just remember it this way. So it's something around the yards, 40-50 yards. The hopping range is this much. It is a nocturnal insect, and it has a typical painful bite. It has a typically painful bite. And where does it bite maximum? On the head and neck, body, or the limbs or the arms? What do you want to say? Please note that this mosquito has a predilection. It only hops, right? So until unless you are walking on your head down, it's not going to bite on your head. So it typically bites the lower limbs. And this insect is living in cool, damp places. This insect lives in cool, damp places, in the burrows or in cracks of the wall. And this sandfly, there is the special feature. What is the special feature? What is the important characteristic feature? It is hairy. And this insect is larger than a mosquito or smaller than a mosquito. Please note that this insect is only 1.2 millimeters to 2.5 millimeters. It is so small insect. It is such a small insect, in 2.5 millimeters. So this insect is the characteristic it has a lot of hair. And because it has a lot of hair and the God has given it wings, the wings, do you know, it has a lanceolate type of the shape of the wing. We say this is the shape of the wing. If somebody asks you about the shape is kind of absurd shape, and it is not aerodynamic. It has a lot of hair on the body. So these are some of the typical features about sandfly, and it causes an important disease, public health important disease, that is Kala Azar. So what are the prevention and control modalities? Sandfly is killed by it is sensitive to both DDT and BHC. But in Government of India, we are not usually using DDT or BHC to kill a sandfly. The insecticide of choice under the National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program, we are using malathions, and we are using the insecticide of choice is If you get single best answer, please note it as synthetic pyrethroids. Synthetic pyrethroids are used for sandfly control because they are more potent and you require less of it, and it's already synthetic pyrethroids are already in the program for mosquito control. It's the same things that we are using for the sandfly control. But if you get the single best answer, insecticide of choice under the program is synthetic pyrethroids, but sandfly are susceptible to almost all the insecticides. So now moving over to the next creature, what do you see over here? Beta, you do not see any wings. There are no wings, है ना? So technically this is not a mosquito, this is not a sandfly. What you see over here is something which is elongated. It is elongated, right? And how many legs you see? Can you see over here the legs? I know the image is not very nice because the creature color and the background color is almost same. I know you must be having a little tough time, but can you count the number of legs? There are 3 legs on each side. So 3 pairs of leg, left side and right side, right? And the legs, can you see that the legs are ending with claws? These are actually, all are the hi-fi important differentiating feature of a creature called as louse or lice. One louse is a louse and many louses, we don't say louses, many louse are lice. So this is what is a lice. Please remember L for long, L for lice or L for louse. That's how I have remembered. Anything which is claw-like and it has lot of long things, that is a louse. Typical feature, let us have a few MCQs upon lice, right? What are the special features? Can you see over here? I just showed you special features. So first thing is that it is elongated and it is a wingless ectoparasite. We already wrote down that how many legs did it have? It has 3 pair of legs, which have claws. Beta, please note that this claws and wingless, this is the characteristic feature about the louse. No other insect will show claws and wingless. Please note that this is a 3 pair of legs. So this falls under which class? This is class Insecta, right? You remember that in class Arachnida there will be 4 pairs of legs, and in Crustacea, that is Cyclops, there are 5. So we are basically focusing still on the class Insecta. Next is the third feature that you need to do is that what are the types of the louse? The types of louse we can have is a head louse, a body louse, and a pubic louse. The pubic louse is the most strongest looking louse. It is most strong and it is a very sturdy looking louse. They all will cause couple of dermatitis. Very soon we are going to talk about the public health importance, but these are the types of the louse. Next in line is about the louse that you can see. These are dorso-ventrally flattened. What do you mean by dorsoventral? That is the dorsal side and the ventral side, they are flattened. So it is a dorso-ventrally flattened insect. So it's something which is flat and it will go on and it has claws. Flattened insect. It is a dorso-ventrally flattened insect. Next is special feature is about the body. Can you see this body? About the special feature, I'll write it over here, is about the body. Can you see the body over here? The body is going to have a head, a thorax, and abdomen. And that is the reason this is class Insecta. Again, a differentiating feature. You remember class Arachnida will have a cephalothorax and abdomen. So this fellow will have abdomen plus thorax plus the head. So this is a head and thorax. Can you see the thorax over here, Betre? The thorax is kind of a squared thorax. So it has a squared thorax. And the abdomen, can you see the abdominal part? It will have total 9 segments. The abdomen has 9 segments. Can you see the last part of the abdomen? Can you see over here the last part of the abdomen? The last part of abdomen, if it is bilobed, can you see 2 pointers over here? It is a female. In a female, it is bilobed ending of the abdomen. And in a male, it is a single pointed end. So that means that the abdominal part is different. It is going to differentiate the gender of the louse, the male and the female. So these are some of the spotting features in the body. So you remember it is a square thorax, and we talked about the abdomen. There are 9 segments. It is separate for males and for females. These are some of the important features about louse. Coming next is what is the public health importance of the louse. Point number 2 is public health importance. The louse could be many louse, head louse, body louse, pubic louse, but usually in general, the louse-borne diseases are epidemic typhus, relapsing fever, trench fever, and generally dermatitis. So you can remember it as RETD, retired, RETD. So relapsing fever, epidemic typhus, trench fever, and dermatitis. You can just remember it this way. Coming next is point number 3. What is the mode of transmission? Mode of transmission. The mode of transmission of disease from one person to another, from the host to from the source to the host, is it could be having a direct mode of transmission, or there could also be a fomite using any non-living substances. So one is direct through direct contact. Of course, not through air. It is through direct contact, or it could be fomite borne also. That is typically important. Point number 4 is regarding the life cycle. Point number 4 is regarding the life cycle of louse. The louse life cycle, it could start from the adult. Let us start from the adult. The adult is going to lay approximately 300 eggs during its lifetime. The adult will lay eggs usually around 4 to 9 eggs per day. So now these eggs are also called as nits. These eggs, which are also called as nits, they will hatch into the larva in roughly around 5 to 9 days. So you can, let's not confuse it everything. So let's say 1 week. In technical words, it is 5 to 9 days it is going to hatch into the larva. The larva in another 10 to 15 days, or just grossly speaking, I have remembered it as 2 weeks. But in all the insects that I'm going to talk, usually the larva will become adult in 2 weeks. Egg will become larva in 1 week. If you don't know anything, don't remember the days, remember 1 week from egg to larva, 2 weeks from larva to adult. Usually, plus minus some days. Okay, that's just a very gross understanding. So if you say 2 weeks, that's fine. So larva will become into mature adult in roughly two weeks, and the adult is going to stay. That is the lifespan. The adult will have a lifespan of approximately 1 to 2 months. That means if the person does not take treatment for lice, head manifestation, right? A lice in the head, in the hair, then there is a big problem. The person may have lice infestation for 1 to 2 months because the whole crop is going to stay there for 1 to 2 months, and 300 eggs. So it is going to multiply 300 times. So that is the problem about lice. And these are a couple of questions that you get on lice. Next, last point. So we have talked about the life cycle. Last point is point number 5. What is the prevention and control mechanism? Please note that the lice can be killed by any insecticide, but usually we are using 0.5% malathion, or we can also use carbaryl dust. Of course, common sense, the lice is susceptible to DDT, it is susceptible to BHC, but of course you don't put DDT everywhere. In case there are too many lice epidemics or outbreaks, you can use DDT or BHC, but usually on head louse, we are using 0.5% malathion, or we can use the carbaryl dust. Next is, what do you see here? Now this looks maybe like, first thing that you see is this is no wings. Can you see the wings? Please note there are no wings, right? There are no wings in this insect. Now, how many legs can you see? Can you count the number of legs? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are total 6 legs. That means 3 pairs. So that means this is from the class Insecta only. There are no wings. There's not a mosquito. There's not a sandfly. There's not a fly. Now, this can also have, can you see over here, small claws are also there. Some claws are also there. But the point is, can you see the type of the legs? And in the louse, can you see that in the louse, the legs were different? Now, this this insect, the louse, can you see the antenna? That's another differentiating feature. Can you see the antenna? The antenna is way straightforward, whereas in this, can you see over here that this is something which goes down? So this creature is something like which has backward, everything backward. The legs are backward, the antenna is backward, the legs are backward, everything is backward. So this backward looking insect, which is a flattened insect, this is called as a flea. Please note, this flea is having everything backward. It will also have claws, it may be long or whatever, but please note that flea is always something which is backward thing. So remember, backward antenna. That is what is going to help you to remember in your exam. So let's have a few words about the flea, like what are the special features. Talking about the special features, let's take a new page and talk about the special features of the flea. First thing is, it is also a wingless ectoparasite. Everything in the flea, the antennae and the legs, they are backwards. The legs are backwards. It is again divided into head, thorax and abdomen. The abdomen will have 9 to 10 segments. You can remember it this way. It has 10 segments, beta. The flea is going to have 10 segments. And this flea, you remember I told you somewhere that the louse is like this, pichka hua, flattened. Dorsoventral flattened. Whereas the flea is a bilaterally compressed. So it is something which is flat like this. The louse is flat like this. Please note that the special feature of a flea, we are talking about the fleas, no confusion. We are talking about the flea. Now the flea is a bilaterally compressed creature. Flea is a bilaterally compressed creature, wingless ectoparasite, and it bites. It basically bites, and usually that is also another feature. Usually this bite is unispecies. Different fleas are there. Flea for human flea. Flea for rat flea. Flea for donkey flea. Horse flea. You have different animal fleas. So cattle flea is different from a horse flea. It is different from a human flea. It is different from a rat flea. So bites are usually unispecies, and the bites are usually painful bites. That is about the flea. Next is, what are the types of fleas? Talking about the types and their public health importance, please note that there could be different fleas. Especially public health importance is a rat flea. Rat flea is called as the Xenopsiella chiopes. Xenopsiella chiopes, that is the rat flea. The rat flea is going to spread a dreaded disease, that is plague. Rat flea will spread a dreaded disease that is called as plague. Please note that human fleas, the human flea may also cause a disease, that is a trench fever. Trench fever could even be louse-borne. Trench fever could even be a flea-borne. Usually, if you get the single best answer, it is a louse-borne trench fever. But the trench fever can also be transmitted by fleas. And the sand flea, that is the Tunga penetrans. It is very important. It is seen in Gujarat areas, in Rajasthan areas in India. And this flea can enter into the below the nails, a nail bed. The small fleas can enter into the nail bed and cause ulcer below the nails, and they cause gangrenous secondary infections. That's an important disease. So sand flea can cause dermatitis. It can cause ulcers or even gangrene, especially talking in the lower limbs or the toes. So lower limb or the toes, because people who are walking barefooted or using sandals, and there in case the sand flea is there, the Tunga penetrans, it is known to cause gas gangrene or the ulcers, or it may transmit diseases. And then there is the Pulex irritans, that is the human flea, which may be responsible for the trench fever, and rat flea is for plague. Lot of times we have already discussed. I would like to discuss it again in plague. Please note that in plague, what is the mode of transmission? The mode of transmission for a plague to happen using a rat flea is not. Please note that rat flea will bite whom? Rat flea is supposed to bite the rat flea. Rat flea does not bite human, because if flea was biting human, we call it a human flea. Are you getting it? So rat flea is supposed to bite a rat. So what is the mode of transmission? Why does a rat flea at the first place bite a human? That the plague bacilli is going to have a what? What is the biological transmission? Please say with me. You need to talk to me that there was a propagative transmission. You remember? This is highly important, bacha. It is a 5-star MCQ topic asked so many times in your exam. So please note that there is a propagative transmission. Now this flea is there hanging around left and right, and it bites a rat. So the rat is bitten by the flea, and there will be the plague bacilli. Yersinia pest is going into the flea. In the flea, there is propagated transmission. So now the rat flea is supposed to xenopsialize. Chiopis is supposed to bite the rats. So it bites this rat. So everywhere rat, right? Let's say. So now this flea is going to bite a lot of rats, and there is a lot of plague bacilli in this flea now. So now this flea becomes like a horrible looking flea because it has plague bacilli, propagative transmission. So bacilli, even the throat of the rat flea gets choked. Now this is a problem. So what is the mode of transmission? It is a blocked flea. Blocked flea, which is more dangerous. Now this flea, it knows that if it bites the rat, instead of putting the plague bacilli, it will take more plague bacilli because there is plague in the rats. So now it needs to find for alternate. It will bite the horse, it will bite a dog, a cat, and a human also. So please note, what is the vector for transmission? It is a rat flea. Who is going to transmit the disease? It's actually not a simple rat flea. It is a blocked flea, which is more dangerous. Blocked flea is dangerous, and they transmit the disease. Now the examiner might be very clever. They ask you that, what do you want to say? A blocked flea is going to transmit, or a partially blocked flea is going to transmit? What is more dangerous? Please note that common sense, I think, that a blocked flea is going to bite people and die because it's already blocked, it's choked. So the blocked flea is going to have a less life span which is left over, so it is okay, it is dangerous. But a partially blocked flea, which is half dead, half zinda, half live, now this is a big menace, and it is more dangerous. Why? Because the partially blocked flea is going to bite more people and spread more plague bacilli. So just remember that what is the mode of transmission for plague bacilli to spread, or for any disease in flea-borne diseases? It is usually the bite, which is important for plague. There could also be mechanical transmission, especially talking about the tunga penetrans, the sand flea. So please note, sandfly is different from the sandfly, right? So by mistake, sometimes we may do mistakes. Sandfly is different, sandflea is different. So we are talking about the tunga penetrans, which may have a mechanical mode of transmission, or we can have the biological propagative transmission for the plague bacilli. So now, after talking about the types of the fleas and about the public health importance, let us talk a little bit about the life cycle of this rat flea or any type of flea. The fleas beta can have 4 stages. We can have the adult, which lays the egg. Then the egg will hatch into larva, then become pupa, and then again the adult. The egg to larva is roughly ranging around 1 week. I told you, usually egg to larva is 1 week. The larva to pupa will take around 2 weeks. Okay, and in the pupa stage, they will stay for another 7 to 10 days, roughly around, you can say, 1 week, and then they become adult. Now the flea in the adult, this has been your MCQ previously also, that what is the lifespan of the flea? It can range from anything between 1 year to 3 years. Please note, it can stay for any time during 1 year to 3 years, depending on the temperature and the availability of the sources or the blood meal. And because it is uni-species, right? So it may stay for 1 year to 3 years, and that's important for us to know, because then only we can plan our preventive and control measures. So now coming to what is the prevention and control measures for fleas. So the prevention and control measures in fleas could predominantly be based on the insecticide that we are using. Please note that fleas are susceptible to DDT and to BHC. So they are susceptible to DDT and BHC, but they are not being used in the national program, or they are actually not used to control plague and all these things. What we are using for flea control is malathion, 5%, or we can also use carbaryl dust. at the rate of 2%. So 2% malathion, 2% carbaryl or 5% malathion can be used. And people who are working in areas where there could be menace of the rat fleas or any type of fleas, they can also use some personal protective measures. So the chemicals which have a personal protective measures, that could be diethyl toluamide, or we can also use benzyl benzoate, which may have a personal protection and they actually just make the flea go off. Please note that the fleas, for control of fleas, we use malathion 5% and carbaryl dust. Next is, what do you see here now? So now this is kind of different. Can you see this insect? And can you see this insect? Let's talk about this one. This is like more typical about the name that I'm going to say. Can you count the number of legs over here? That's an important distinguishing feature. The number of legs I see over here are 4 legs on one side, 4 on another, 4 pairs of legs. So that means this is not class Insecta. Insecta was 3 pair of leg, Arachnida was 4 pair of leg. So now this is class Arachnida. And this insect, this creature, it is different from the housefly, this is different from a mosquito, from a sandfly, this is also different from flea and from louse. So you see 4 pairs of leg, beta. This could be a tick or this could be a mite. Okay, we'll talk about mites later on. Let us talk about ticks. This is actually a tick. The tick could be 2 types. You can have a hard tick or we can have a soft tick. We can have either a hard tick or a soft tick. So what are the special features? What are the differentiating features of the ticks? Let us have a few words about ticks. Special features. First important feature is that there are no wings. And because there are no wings, common sense, it's not going to fly. And there are 4 pair of legs. 4 pair of legs. You do not see any head, thorax, abdomen. It is a fused cephalothorax and a abdomen is there. So there is a cephalothorax, that is head and thorax is fused, right? Cephalothorax and abdominal part is there. You don't see separate head, separate thorax, and you don't see the separate abdomen. So these are the important special features. Of course, the common sense, there is only one important feature, that is the 4 pairs of leg. Now, what is the difference between a hard tick and a soft tick can come in your exam? How do you differentiate between a hard tick and a soft tick? So if I just show you the life cycle first, the eggs are there. Now the tick is going to lay the eggs, right? So eggs are going to hatch into the larva in roughly around 1 to 3 weeks. This is slightly different from the normal conventional where I said that egg is going to go into larva in 1 week only. This may take a longer time, 1 to 3 weeks. And then the larva is becoming nymph in only 3 to 10 days. That is a shorter time. It's there in 1 week only. And then the nymph will become adult again in 1 to 2 weeks. So usually it takes a lot of time for egg to adult development. Please note that in case it is a hard tick, in case it is a hard tick or it could be a soft tick, right? So I have just remembered that hard is something which is very hungry and it is very absurd and very horrible type of a tick. It is a hungry, hard tick. Just remember that in a hard tick, it is going to have very fast, aggressively changes. So it changes from the egg to the adult in just 2 months. It changes in just 2 months, and the soft tick may take 9 to 10 months. That is kind of difference. First difference. So we may talk about the hard tick or a soft tick. Please note that hard is a hard. There is a chitin over there, chitin on the exoskeleton, and the soft tick is no chitin. If you talk about the life cycle of the hard tick, we already talked it has a life cycle which happens within 2 months. The soft tick will have 9 to 10 months of the cycle of the system. Beta, another important differentiating feature can come in your exam. How to differentiate between a hard tick and a soft tick is, can you see over here? In this image, can you see the head? Can you see the head? Okay. Whereas over here, we actually do not see the head. In this small ticks also, can you see there is no head which is visible? I'm not saying that the head is not there. The head is there. It is more down. So it is more hidden. Please note that in a hard tick, the head is visible. Please note that in a hard tick, the head is visible. H for hard, H for head. Remember it this way. I told you that hard tick is H. Remember, H is pretty important. H is hungry tick, and it is a very hard tick, and it is a very highly aggressive. So it does egg to adult will happen within 2 months. And because H is hard tick, it is a head tick. And in a soft tick, there is no head visible. No head visible. The head is there, but it is more downwards. Next is talking about the hard tick. H for hard. H for this tick is always hungry. It will be always on the host. Why? Because it takes the blood meal. So H for hard, H for head, H for host, H for hungry, H for aggressive. Just remember H for aggressive also. So it's a very hot growing thing. Within 2 months it will happen. There is a head and it is hungry all the time. Why? It is there on the host all the time. All the time there is feeding. It takes a lot of blood meal all the time. But on the other side, the soft is a cool person. So it goes from egg to adult in roughly 9 to 10 months. There is no head visible. And in a soft tick, it is usually nocturnal feeding. It feeds only during night time, and this soft tick can stay with starvation. It can stay starved for weeks to months. But the hard tick will die if you take it out from the body. The soft tick can stay as long as it wants, like it's many weeks to months. That's what it makes a soft tick as a soft tick. Are you getting it? There's a lot of storage capacity in a soft tick. Just remember, soft tick is without a head. All these beta what I have written over here, these all have been very important differentiating feature between how do you differentiate a hard tick and a soft tick. The life cycle is kind of different, and the tick special features are also different. So last is, what are the public health importance? Public health importance of the ticks. This can be asked in your exam. It's a beta 3 by 5-star MCQ topic. A lot of times they ask you. You already know that there could be a hard tick. There could be a soft tick. Hard tick is also called as the exordidae tick. And the soft tick is also called as the ergazidae tick. The hard tick or the exordidae tick is responsible for T3, V3B. So I've just remembered it. That's just my way of remembering. T3 stands for tick, typhus, tick paralysis, and tularemia. The hard tick can also cause V3, that is viral encephalitis. It can also cause a viral fever, or it may also cause a hemorrhagic fever or a viral hemorrhagic fever. And last is B. B stands for babesiosis. Babesiosis. So these are the diseases which may be transmitted by the hard tick. The soft tick may transmit Q fever, relapsing fever. Please note, relapsing fever could even be louse-borne. It could even be tick-borne. So relapsing fever, or it could be transmitting the Kyasanur forest disease. In fact, Kyasanur forest disease could also be a hard tick-borne or a soft tick-borne. So both can be. Kyasanur forest disease could be there in both the areas. So the only way to prevent a tick, you can't kill all the ticks, right? The only way is personal protection. So we can use personal protective measures, like we can have proper clothing, staying away from the ticks, and use of benzoate can be used as personal protective measures for ticks. Next is this organism. What do you see over here? What is this? This does not have wings, common sense. You can't even see the legs now. So now this is no wings, no legs, but it is kind of a globular structure. Please note that this is what is we call as a mite. It's a mite. Okay, I'll just very soon tell you how to differentiate the tick and the mite. You can see that what is this? You can see that tick is something which is more crawling kind of creature. And you can see over here the mite is something which is more robust. But there could be different types of mites also. Can you see both the mites over here? I'm very soon going to tell you about mites again. But can you see the number of legs? How many legs you see? Again, you see 4 pairs of legs. So because it is not having 3 pairs, therefore it is not class Insecta. It is a 4 pair, therefore it is a class Arachnida. So this is not a tick, it is a mite. How to differentiate a tick and a mite? Very soon we are going to see. Please note that in the mites, the differentiating feature are they look very similar to the tick, but in the mite they will have thick or long anterior legs. They have a thick or slightly longer anterior legs. We can have 2 major types of mites which are important from public health point of view. We can talk about a trombiculid mite, which is this one, or we can have a itch mite, which is this one. So we can talk about the trombiculid mite or the itch mite. So these are 2 important mites which are there from the public health point of view. Talking about the trombiculid mite now. The trombiculid mite can, the infective stage is the larval stage, and the infective and the biting stage is both the larval stage. So now the mite larva is going to bite. That is the most important differentiating feature. So the larval stage is going to be the biting stage, and the adults of the mite, they live where? They live in the soil. So they are cool people. The disease is not transmitted by the adults of the ticks like you had that. In the mite, it is the larval stage which is going to hamper us. Now the larva is infected. Larva gets the blood meal from someone, and the larva is going to go to another person. So larva becomes infected. Now this larva will go into adult. The adult will also be infected because the infection was there in the larva. Now the adult is going to lay eggs. Surprisingly, the eggs are also going to be infected. And the next progeny of the larva which is going to be there, that is also going to be infected. So this phenomena is a very peculiar, special phenomena happening only in mites. This is called as a trans-ovarian transmission. This is called as a trans-ovarian transmission. That is, it goes through all the life stages, and the infection is going to stay in the mite. So moving next is, what is the public health importance, bache? The public health importance of this particular trombiculid mite is that the organism Rickettsia orientalis or the Rickettsia tsutsugamushi, that is the obligate intracellular parasite of this particular mite, and this causes your disease called as the scrub typhus. And the scrub typhus is predominant in India in hilly areas, forest areas, and it is also called as a berry bug. This mite is also called as a berry bug, and this is a Rickettsia tsutsugamushi, which causes scrub typhus. Now moving ahead in the mites only, what do you see over here? What is this? Beta, this one is distinctly different from this one. We talked about the trombiculid mite, but now this one we are talking about. What is this? This is called as itch mite. The other name, the real name, itch mite is just the local name. The real name is Sarcoptes scabi. Sarcoptes scabi. And this is what is itch mite. What is the special feature? Please note, it will have 4 pairs of legs. If you look at the Sarcoptes scabi, the anterior legs, the 2 anterior legs, these are very thick, and the posterior legs are fimbriae. They are thin posterior legs, and the anterior legs, probably it had a lot of quadriceps, so the anterior legs are very thick. These are thick anterior legs and the thin posterior legs. So it will be the same on both the sides, common sense. It has 4 pairs of legs. This is Sarcoptes scabi. If you look at the life cycle of this Sarcoptes scabi, it has kind of an important life cycle, that the egg is going to go into the larva again 1 to 2 weeks. Then the larva will become adult, but this larva will become nymph and adult in just a matter of around 4 to 5 days. So 1 week it takes for egg to larva, And then in 4 to 5 days, total the lifespan of egg to adult, it is typically very fast. It happens in 10 to 15 days only. That is the total lifespan. So for from the egg to the adult for the scabies mite or the itch mite. What is the public health importance of this particular? What is the public health importance? The public health importance of the itch mite is that it causes scabies. Now you should know that the scabies or the itch mite is going to live inside the interdigital places, right? You must have learned this much in dermatology. So now this will make burrows between the digits, between the fingers. It will make the burrows and it is going to hide and stay there. These burrows, these are called as ovigerous burrows, or these are called as ovigerous tunnels. And the itch mite has a particular feature that it comes out during the night time. It comes out during night time. Why? Because there is a little bit amount of vasodilation. Why? Because usually the hand is inside the blanket or the cover wherever you are sleeping. So the hand is inside. And because it is inside, there is heat. Heat means vasodilation. Vasodilation means the scabies, itch mite will now come out and will cause a lot of itching. So therefore, we say that there is a lot of intense itching. There is intense itching during the night time. There is more itching during night time, especially after bathing. So with hot water. So that is what is about scabies. Of course, people who get scabies, they don't bathe a lot because scabies is what? It is due to unhygienic conditions. So please note that it is vasodilation, comes out during night, and there is ovigerous burrows, and it has a very fast life cycle. So what is the mode of transmission? How does scabies spread from person to person? Please note it can happen very fast. It could be by direct contact, or it could also be fomite borne, usually with beddings or with sharing of clothes and all that. It is direct contact. So now I think you'll be in a better position to understand. You have in class arachnida, there is confusion. You have learned that there could be a tick, there could be a mite. You have learned there could be a hard tick, there could be a soft tick, there could be a trombiculid mite, or there could be, let's write down trombiculid on the other side, there could be itch mite or a trombiculid mite. Are we okay with this? This is what you have done till now. This is what is important. Please note that the first differentiating feature is that everybody is oval shape. Another differentiating feature is that everybody has 4 pair of legs. Everybody has 4 pairs of legs. Everybody is oval shape. So how to differentiate? The hard tick will have a head. Please note the hard tick will have a head. Please note head tick or a hard tick or a hungry tick or a very aggressive tick is a hard tick. Soft tick, there is no head visible. Please note the soft tick will be a soft kind of thing and it is bullous. It is a big balloon shaped full kind of creature, that is a soft tick. How do you differentiate the itch mite? The itch mite is going to have thick anterior legs. Thick anterior legs. For trombiculid mite, it may be slightly difficult, but the trombiculid mite will also have a head. But the head in a hard tick and in a trombiculid mite is different. The trombiculid mite is in a shape of 8. It is 8-shaped creature. It is a 8-shaped creature and it will have slightly longer legs. It has a longer legs. Can you see over here, if I just show you what is this? Can you see the tick? It is more like flattened and it is having the leg like this. And if I show you the mite over here, can you see the mite is slightly more above the surface. So that is a slight differentiating feature between the ticks and the mite. Please note they all have same features. They all look the same, very slight differences. Hard tick is a head tick. No head is a soft tick. Itch mite will have thick anterior legs and trombiculid mite is 8-shaped, slightly more on the top. It's like a Hummer going. So that is what is a trombiculid mite. Just for your last part, before we close off, how do you prevent scabies? Prevention of scabies is using benzyl benzoate, which is the drug of choice, benzyl benzoate, at 25%, usually taken 2 to 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times a week, it has to be taken over the full body. We can also use HCH or Linden, which is more aggressive treatment, and it is taken 2 times a week. So either we use benzyl benzoate or we use the Linden 2 times a week. Other drugs which can be used is, I think you all know about it. We can use permethrin ointments, permethrin. We can use crotamine, tetmozole ointments for control of scabies. Tetmozole ointment for control of scabies. So that was regarding most of your questions from tick, mite, louse. Just a quick summary for you. You can remember these all features. We have already had a word about the public health important special features, pairs of leg, and prevention and control modalities, right? So with that, we close this topic, and thank you so much for watching this whole lecture on entomology.
Hi guys, please subscribe my channels.